Teresa, good morning. Hi, Bianca. How are you today? How's your leg? Any better? Teresa, good to see you. I really liked your live the other day. I'm glad you're joining me. Today, I am working on pandemic instead of a full coverage one. I had somebody request um, to work on a long dog sampler. Hi, Joy. How are you? Instead of a full coverage, so I thought I'd do that today. Plus, as Bianca knows, we got to get a lot of stitches for our game. So this one I can stitch quite a bit faster than a full coverage, because my full coverage one, I am just in confetti hell at the moment, unless I switch projects, but I could do that too, but I didn't really feel like it, so I pulled this out. Good. I'm glad you're doing better, Bianca. That I feel so bad for you, because I know what I went through when I broke my ankle, and it was no fun. In fact, we both broke the same foot. We both have about the same hardware in that ankle. Hi, Angel from Singapore. Oh, absolutely wonderful. And Jill, good morning. I'm glad you're here. I have to get this one thing out of the way so I can read. Oh, I am so glad. So glad you found them helpful. That's so much what I try to do, and that's really what I want my channel to be about, is, let's learn and work on those tips and tricks and what can make your stitching easier or better, or and like I said, guys, Stitchy Witch, how are you today? Good to see you here. Thanks for dropping in. As I said before, I really am not an expert. I really am not. I am self-taught, absolutely self-taught. I've been stitching a long time, but I've learned a lot myself over the years. But what I know is pretty much what I learned through trial and error and taught myself, and learned from watching other people's videos. That's just what we do. Just what we do. So I thought I would do a spur of the moment live today, because Teresa, I know you were bored and you needed something to do. So I thought I'd give you a video to watch. But I hope you are feeling better too these days. I know you're not too far post-op, but I hope every day is going a little bit better for you. And I was so sorry to hear that you may have to have that hip replaced, but in the long run, you'll be better for it. Yes, Teresa, I was feeling your mood today. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Angel, you have trouble. Oh, because of your big tummy? Does that mean there's a little bambino on the way? Oh, how wonderful. How wonderful. 1, 2, 3. Soon I'll lose my count here. It's what happens when I talk and stitch at the same time, but ah, need those stitches. And this game, that this survival of the stitchiest is just, it's so much fun. I am really having a wonderful time, and the group I am in is such a wonderful group of people. Oh, shaky hands today. Um, they are all just such a pleasure. I think my camera's slipping a little bit here. 2 more months to go, Angel. Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. And oh my goodness, it's... Sorry for the moving around here. I wanted to get you a better angle. There we go. And the summertime, oh my. Being pregnant in the summer just makes the heat all so much worse. You already have a furnace going on, and then you add a little one to that, and oh my goodness. My goodness. So much. I bought my nerd stand. Oh, wait, I gotta go back here. Oh, phooey. I keep forgetting I'm on my laptop and not my... I don't use my floor nerd stand very much at all. In fact, it's sitting in a corner, and I think the only time I used it was when I went to a retreat. And it was just more comfortable to sit in one of those camp chairs, because those straight back chairs at tables at retreats, do my back in. So I had a camp chair that I took, and I took my floor stand and stitched, and that was just absolutely wonderful. Oh, Teresa, you had therapy today? Oh, good. They really work you out, don't they? I'm sure they do. I know who, boy, they did with me with my ankle. And you know what? I will tell you and Bianca, the trick to the, well, it's not a trick, but my best advice is make sure you carry on with whatever exercises they give you at home, because then your progress is so much faster. In fact, what I did, because I think I know everything sometimes, is before I even, when I was in my cast from my ankle, from my fractured ankle, as soon as I could, I started moving my toes, because that keeps some strength in there. And then when I got to therapy, I was kind of already ahead of the game, because I could do that. Chris Crostich, how are you? Oh my goodness. Thanks for dropping by. I'm so glad you joined. Oh, I'm honored. I'm honored that you joined. Oh my goodness. Angel, it's midnight where you are now. Oh, bless your heart. Oh, you and that little bambino need some rest. Oh, Chris. You are such a joy, Chris, to listen to. I really love your videos. I really, really do. Now we're going to have to uh, start to get you to broaden your skills. Ah, good for you, Teresa. That is the trick. Honest. I mean, the more you can do and stay on top of your therapy at home, the faster therapy will go. It really does. I had my ankle done, and then I had to have my I don't know if you were watching my videos then, but I had to have my left thumb done because I had basal joint arthritis. So they took a bone out, and then they filled it with tendon to fill in that space, because I couldn't even wring out a washcloth anymore. It was terrible. And I did the same thing then. I started wiggling fingers in my hand and doing as much as I could prior to my therapy so that when I got to therapy, it went much faster. And I really didn't have to stay that long. Well, hello, Teresa. How are you? Another Teresa is here. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you find this a lovely way to start your stitching day. Angel, you know what? It does take a little courage, and everybody flounders a little bit in the beginning. I mean, ask any of us that do streams or even regular floss tube videos. You do. You flounder a little bit, and I will admit that when I'm going to do a live, I still get a little flustered. I'm glad you're doing more even weave, Chris. That's wonderful. And you know what? If you can do even weave, you can do linen. I mean, because they both stitch the same, unless of course you're going to stitch over one. But they're not hard. They're really not. And you know what? If you need help or have a question, please don't hesitate. Let me know. That's because that's what I do. I I really enjoy the the teaching part or helping people. Um, it's really just what I'm all about. Because you know what? Here's how I feel about that. We all start somewhere. We all were first time stitchers at one point or another in our lives. And we all had to learn. And I really, really think that it's more important to show people how to do things, to talk with people on how to do things, and to give them kudos for what they're doing. Be positive, be reinforcing, be encouraging. Because, I'm glad to see some younger people doing more cross stitch. I mean, I look at the floss tubers these days, and there's a lot of young people that are stitching now, as compared to a few years ago when it was all us old fogies. And I say that about myself. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Hi, Buzzy B. Cottage from Massachusetts. Glad you dropped by. Thanks for dropping in. But I think we have to be encouraging, and we have to be supportive of new stitchers, so that they don't try and do something and get frustrated and then say, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. I think we need to take people under our wing and help them out. And there's, oh God forbid, there is enough negativity going on in this world today that we just don't need more of that. And this cross stitch community is such a giving community, and we just need to stay positive. We just need to keep it positive. That's how I feel about it. I just feel that way. I don't want to see needlework disappear, and people not do it anymore. Time to stitch. Hello there. Diana, hello. Daphne, hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you stopped by. Simply a Stitcher. Hello, Nicola. I'm glad you stopped in again today. It's so nice to see people here and want to spend some time with me. So I hope you grabbed a beverage of some sort and have your stitching. And I have no idea what we're going to talk about, because I just jumped on here for the sake of jumping on today. So I got to flip and carry my thread. Actually, I wanted to try out. Okay, there we go. Okay, now what did I do here? Here we go. I got a new arm, as you can see it in front of me here, for my camera, so I could get a better angle and not be bumping it all the time and making you guys seasick, which is what I was doing with the other one at first. And then for the longest time, you're going to laugh. And those of you that do videos will totally understand. You're going to laugh, though. What I did for the longest time is my daylight lamp. I actually took my Brio and taped it onto the lamp and had it focused down on my work for the longest time. And finally I decided that's enough of that. This is getting crazy, because every time I had to retake things. So now I think I finally got it set up. Teresa, you're absolutely right. For new people, this community is what they need, because there are so many wonderful people that do videos, and there's so many great people that either do tutorials or talk about how to do stuff, and the answers are there. And yeah, we just want to you just want to do what's right and make people happy, and and further because this is an art. I don't care what people say. It is an art. Chris, that was a good solution. You make do with what you had. That's exactly what I did. I made do with what I had, and you would have laughed. People would have laughed if they really would have seen it, how it was taped onto this light, and there was just a ton of tape holding it in place. Oh, all I can say is it was creative and inventive, and it worked. But now I broke down and bought a nice arm to hold it on. So what's everybody working on today? Or, as I said, this is pandemic. I wish I could remember somebody. There was one person who asked if I would stitch on a long dog, and that's why I picked this one for today. As I said, plus I'm in the Survival of the Stitchiest group, Facebook group, and right now we cleared the land, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bianca, but I think we're ready to build the house and then the rooms. So with all one color, I can get a lot of stitches done pretty quickly. So that's the other reason I picked this one. Oh, Mini Red Queen. Yahoo. Hello, Teresa Sutherland. Your camera setup is excellent. It's good to see stitching up close. Well, thank you. I do try. Although it seems like I keep moving something. Wendy Stitching, welcome. And you're doing Farewell to Anger. Time to stitch, day with the grandchildren. Oh, lucky you. Lucky you. That's wonderful. I think I have to get a hold of my daughter and see what her plans are for the weekend. I think we'll go see our grandkids on Sunday morning. Yay, we can start to build the houses. All right. And we don't need a code word because I didn't put one on my start picture. Oh, no, wait. Did I put a start? Oh, I think I have to use my other one. Ooh. I hope these stitches are going to count. If not, that's okay. Supersize once upon you guys that do those supersize ones, holy smokes, you're brave. Oh my goodness. No, my Stitcher's Retreat that I did was regular size, and it felt like a super size, let me tell you. It was 625 stitches wide by, let me think, 720 stitches long. It was 468,000 plus stitches. And it took me 5 years and 4 months to stitch. That being said, there was 1 year that I did not, out of that 5, there was 1 year that it did not get worked on. And you saw him in the little clip at the beginning here, if you were here for that clip. I took a year off to make stockings for my grandkids. So I did first snow, and oh my god, I can't remember the name of the other one. It's the one with Santa sitting by the fire and a cat on his lap. So I did work on those two for a year, and then I went back to Stitcher's Retreat. So, I don't know if I have another. I don't have a supersize max color in me because, well, hopefully I'm going to be around a long time yet, but on the 4th of July, I turned 70. So I don't know that I want to start anything that gymongous again. I'm kind of switching to the minis. And I agree, Nicola, with Pattern Keeper. It's a game changer, absolute game changer. Being able to see, to not have to hunt for your next stitch. I mean, that's just fabulous. And okay, I'll be honest. Totally honest. For as much as I advocate stitching on the diagonal, and I do, and it has its time and place, it really, really does. Because, like I said before, I think that a full coverage chart tells you how it wants to be stitched. And some are just tell you they want to be stitched more of a cross country. Some are absolutely best with parking, and whether you do it in columns or the diagonal is up to you, because basically parking is parking no matter which method or which orientation you do it in. And there are ones that a combination of both, but I think they tell you how they want to be stitched. So, to be honest, since Pattern Keeper came out, I find myself veering more and more towards cross country. Even if it's cross country, not maybe over the whole page or extreme cross country. Nope, tried that. Wasn't for me. I was too afraid I would make a mistake and then not find it until you were way, way past it to do anything reasonable with fixing it. But cross country within a certain area, yes, absolutely. I do that a lot anymore, and that's because Pattern Keeper makes it so doggone easy. I mean, it just says, here, go, this stitch is only 2 away, do that, do this. So I find myself not sticking strictly to a diagonal anymore. For as much as I advocate it, I'm as guilty as the next person. And like I said, there are times that, yes, I will absolutely be strict about a diagonal and not vary from it too much, especially if it's high confetti, because oh my gosh, if I don't, then I do get lost. And the one thing I detest more than anything is having to go back and fill in the odd stitch. Well, Chris, thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm glad you did. And I'm looking forward to your next video. Because they are just a joy to watch, and you are doing so great, so great. So take care, have a great day, have a great week, and I hope I see you next time. Okay, what am I doing here? Oh, thank you, Stitchy Witch. I debated about the red and white. Um, I couldn't decide if I wanted to do Angel. Oh, I'm glad you stopped. But yes, it's after midnight where you are. You need to sleep. You and that baby need some rest. So sleep well, have a good night, and have a great week. And stitch all you can. Yeah, Tracy, I can't do extreme. I tried that. Um, what was her name? On the Heaven and Earth group, and she started a group with extreme cross country stitchers, and she did a bunch of videos. I haven't seen her around much lately. What, Portia? Was it Portia? I think that was her name. And when she first started, I tried extreme cross country and it was actually when I first started Stitchers Retreat, and oh, I did. I got maybe halfway through. Well, not even halfway through the first color, but halfway through the piece of fabric, and there was still a whole lot of that color to do. And I said, first of all, I get too bored when I do all one color, which is why pandemic comes out to play, but then it goes away and then comes out to play. Do you know how many whips you have, and are they mostly long dog or full coverage? Well, Teresa, let me tell you, I have 3 full coverage started. It's Once Upon a Time, which is a quick stitch, the one with the open book and the vines around it. It is Spread Your Wings, and that's the one, the girl standing like in a mountain with her back looking out over. And the other one is the new one, The Library, which I thought would go absolutely fantastic with my Stitchers Retreat. So those are my 3 full coverage ones. I did have some others started, and they were regular size, and in all honesty, I decided to not do them. I think I would rather stick to minis at this point in time. So one of them I rehomed I did a drawing and I rehomed that one. And the other 2, I really didn't have that much done, so I'm just going to reuse that fabric for something else. And I have 3 long dogs started: Pandemic, Death by Cross Stitch, and Legal High. And that's my works in progress. Any more than that, it makes me crazy. Teresa, you're absolutely right. If you don't grid, I would not do extreme cross country because no, because that counting would get absolutely ridiculous, to tell you the truth. Especially if you have to skip 50 stitches or whatever. I know for myself, I would lose count. So if I didn't have the grids to at least give me a sense of where I was and am I in the right place, no way. And there are people who love it and people who do it all the time, and you know what? That's fabulous. That's absolutely fabulous. But that's just not for me. And it's like I have said so many times, Teresa, I don't know that it's really self-control. Well, in a sense it is. It's like, it makes me crazy to have too many started, because then it's like, what do I work on? What am I going to finish? What am I going to do? Which do I work on today? And then I go through, especially I went through this period of time after I finished Stitcher's Retreat, and I'm still kind of stuck in that place of not knowing what I want to do. I just couldn't sink my teeth into anything. Sometimes I worked on 3 different things in one day's time, because I just wasn't satisfied with one thing. There was nothing that I had started that was really speaking to me, but I really didn't want to start something else. Joy, did I miss some tips on understanding diagonal stitching? I'm not sure what you mean, Joy. I don't think you missed any tips. Tell me further. It is. It's hard to pick one project, and it's hard to stay, up until I started doing these full coverage, which take forever. I was a monogamous stitcher. When I was stitching samplers, and I stitched samplers for, wow, quite a few years. Well, yeah, quite a lot of years, because there's probably about 40 hanging throughout my house. I stitched just one at a time. Finished one, moved on to the next. Finished that one, moved on to the next. And then I fell down this full coverage rabbit hole, and because they tend to take so long, that's when I got into having multiple starts, because, well, they take so long, and I was getting tired. I was getting tired of working on the same thing all the time, and I wanted something different. So I would start something else. Yeah, I do the same thing. I usually work on Pandemic at night when I'm watching TV with my husband. And I'm in my porch today, And over here, I usually work on the full coverage. Teresa's comment. Oh, I do that all the time. I touch the screen on my laptop thinking it's going to move. Oh, I think, Joy, she means that a lot of people have trouble grasping the concept of when you're doing stitching on the diagonal and parking. A lot of people have trouble accepting that you don't necessarily always have to know what color that is. Or when you park a thread, you don't really always have to know that that's 310 or 779, because for me, I'm looking at symbols and not necessarily the color number. So if I'm doing the solid heart, I park my thread at the next solid heart. And it took me a while. It took me quite a while to learn to trust. And Teresa, I think you'll verify this. It takes a little bit of time to learn to trust that you put that thread at the right spot. So that when you get to that park thread, and you always park in the same corner of the same corner of the square, like I always park in the bottom left corner, I know that that thread belongs to that square, and I don't worry about the color number because I trust that I put it at the right place. Now, if I get to a square that has a thread in it and I don't expect that there will be one there, then that triggers the thought of, oops, I must have parked something wrong. And then I'll start looking at the numbers and I will pull, like, okay, if it's supposed to be, I don't know, 3860 there, or if that's the block for 3860, then I will pull that color and check it with what's there and make sure that it is parked correctly. Or if it isn't, then I'll look at the stitches around it and match up, because maybe I just miscounted by 1 or 2 threads, and it's easy to fix. Yes, you can fix it a whole lot quicker with Pattern Keeper, because you know you mark where you have things parked. Yeah, and Joy, you know what? You just you have to do it, and you have to do it repeatedly, and the more you do it, the more confident you get, and the more trust you get in knowing that you did things at the right place. Yes, Teresa Little Stitcher, you're absolutely right. If you get to it and there's no thread there and you think there should be, there should be, you start looking around it. Go a stitch or two to each side or up or down, and you're guaranteed you're going to find that you miscounted by a thread or two when you placed it. And then you can always pull that color number, because Pattern Keeper, being the great app that it is, if you touch on that symbol, it's going to tell you the number. You're not going to have to go hunting for it. And then you can match it up and double check yourself that it's the right color. But the more you do it, the more confident you get. And Joy, maybe what you could do, just a suggestion, and again, it's up to you, is don't park everything. Just start off with parking one or two colors. And as you get confident with that, then you can gradually increase the number of colors that you're parking. It's like ease into it instead of going in baptism by fire, so to speak. Just do one or two, or try it on a project that doesn't have 90 colors in it, like the Heaven and Earth have 90 colors in it. Try a project that you, or find an area that you can work on relatively easily with only a few colors. And then you can get used to doing that before you get to a place in the chart that has bunches of colors. Like right now on Once Upon a Time, I'm in a spot where I bet I have close to 15 or 20 colors parked. And it's like every stitch in the row is a different color. And I tend to go row by row when I'm in that heavy confetti area, just so that I don't miss anything and mess up. It's a little easier for me to go row by row. Some people, and I know Teresa Little Stitcher does this. Teresa, you do the 10 by 10 block. You color complete within that 10 by 10 block. And you might want to try that. That might be easier for you too, because if you do all the, and just to pick numbers, if you do all the black in that 10 by 10 block and then park it in either the block below or the block to the right, depending on which way you're stitching, then do the next color. Do all the stitches in that block and then park it in the next block. That might be another way that's easier for you. You just have to find a place and give it a try, and give it a fair try. Give it a good try. Hi, Joyce. Thanks for stopping in. How are you today? Nicola, you don't mark your part threads. Oh, you're brave. You are really brave. Yeah, Teresa, I agree. 10 by 10 does make the counting easier, I think. And plus, then you know that you did all that color in that block. So I sometimes do that. I sometimes go row by row, and some people think that, here I'm not stitching. Some people think that if you start a piece doing, say, diagonal stitching, that you have to do that whole piece diagonal stitching and you can't change your method. Well, that's not true. You can change your method anytime you want. If you're doing cross country and you switch it to diagonal, hey, have at it. That's fine. If you're doing parking by columns and you want to do parking on the diagonal, have at it. That's fine too. If you want to do cross country, go for it. You can do whatever method you want, whenever you want to, on a piece, because I will guarantee you're not going to be able to tell the difference on the front. The front is going to look just fine and dandy. Where you're going to see the difference is on the back. You're going to be able to see those lines. Okay, on my Stitchers Retreat, when I started it, I did the first page cross country. When I got to the second page, I had looked at Scarlet Quince and their instructions on how to stitch, so I did the second page in columns. Then my friend started diagonal stitching because she watched Brian of Blitz Stitch fame, and she liked his diagonal method. But now he stitches his diagonal rows vertically. And I said, there is no way she's going to know how to do something that I can't. Sometimes I can be a little competitive. So I tried Brian's way, and I just couldn't quite do it. I couldn't quite get my head around that because I was always used to stitching horizontally across a row. So I sat and played around until I figured out a way for me to stitch on the diagonal on horizontal rows. And I kept hearing about how people were having trouble stitching the way Brian does with the rows going vertically. And that's what prompted me to do a video which started this whole thing. This is the beginnings of how I got to where I am on YouTube, because that's what started it. Everybody was well, not everybody, but a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I really kind of like that concept, but I can't figure out or follow or do it the way Brian does. I just can't understand that." So in my first video, I gave credit where credit was due, that I'd watched Brian and that I had trouble understanding. Well, I could understand it, I just couldn't make it work in my head because of the way I was used to stitching, and that this is the method I came up with that worked for me. From there, it took off like you would not believe. I'm still dumbfounded at the fact that I am almost to 11,000 subscribers. I mean, seriously, I'm blown away by that. Absolutely blown away by that. But my whole philosophy is, did it help you? Did it help you to understand things better? Did it help you to improve your stitching? Did it teach you something that you didn't know before? Did you try something new? All of that. Because that's why I do these videos. Exactly why. Plus, I also like these lives. It's such fun sitting here talking to... In fact, yeah, I'm not really stitching, am I? I'm just kind of... I just love talking with you guys. It's just so much fun. Thank you, Teresa. I love you guys too. I'll tell you what, this is just so cool, just so fun. And it helps, especially with all the lockdowns and stuff that have been going on over the years, or over the last year and a half. It's such a nice way to be able to communicate with people, and you know you don't feel so, okay, I'm stuck here all by myself, and I don't have anybody to stitch with, and get all sad. This is, it's just a way to speak with people and stay on, well, maybe not staying on top of what's going on, but at least, hear everybody's ideas, and hey, what can we do different, and what can we do better, and do you know a trick on how to do this kind of thing. Yes, and I think you're right, Tracy. Tutorials always help somebody, because there's always somebody struggling out there with how to do something, and this is just a great way to help that. And like I said, I don't know it all. I am not an expert. Honestly, I'm not. People give me so much more credit than what I think I deserve. I Okay, what I think I deserve. Put it that way. I You guys just blow my mind. You know, I just am dumbfounded sometimes when I look at that. And in fact, the funny thing is, and I wonder if he's on here today, because I don't know if his new job allows him to do that. But if you're here, Adam, I will say hello. How are you? I love you. And I think we're going to try and come down this weekend if you guys aren't doing anything. Adam is my son-in-law, who, believe it or not, watches my videos. He's such a joy. I love him to death. Oh my God. But he always watches my videos. And if he doesn't always catch it live, if I do a live one, he watches the ones I record. And when this goes up on YouTube as a recording to be watched later, he'll probably watch it. He's such a sweetheart, such a sweetheart. But he's always encouraging, always. And he's like, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should do this. Now he is, he's a techie. He, I don't know what his official title is anymore. He got his new job, a new job, but he's a software engineer. So he writes software. And from what I understand, he's working for a company that is similar to LinkedIn, only this is a database for physicians. And he's, yeah, I don't know what his title is, but he's writing software or something for this. Jill, no, he's not a stitcher, not at all. Not at all. But he listens to my videos, and he is always so supportive and always so encouraging, and always, you really should do this, or you should do that, or you should do this. He's just a great guy, and he is so good to my daughter, and he is so great with the kids. They are, they're precious. They're my pride and joy. But no, oh my goodness, no, he's not a stitcher. He's a gamer. So when he's not working and doing all his software stuff, He's probably on his iPad playing video games. He's a techie, all about a techie. In fact, the kids, the kids go a little bonkers without their screen time. They are into the video games also, and they're, let's see, how old? Abram is 7, and Imogen is 6. And they're so funny. They talked Nana, moi, into playing Minecraft. So Nana played Minecraft with them for a while, but now they have moved on and they're playing other video games, and Nana doesn't understand those video games, so she's not playing those games with them, because I don't understand. It was all like a doodle or Minecraft, believe me, and I still don't get it all. Because I could be in there and you're chopping a tree down and they look at me and say, Nana, you're not supposed to use an axe to do that. You're supposed to use whatever. But they're adorable. I love them. What can I say? Oh, you love the clock in my background? Can you see it? Let me see if I can give you a better view. There you go. I will tell you, Angel, about that clock. Or Angela, I'm so sorry. That clock, there we go, belonged to my grandparents. My grandfather bought that clock for my grandmother when my father was born. That was, how they do what do they call them these days? Let me think. Push presents. Now, I don't know that they called it a push present back in because my dad was born in 1930. So I don't know if that's what they called it then, but when my dad was born, my grandfather bought that clock for my grandmother. When they passed away, my aunt kept the clock. My dad, I don't know if he didn't want it or let my aunt have it or how that went down. I don't know about that. But when my father passed away, my aunt said to my brother, do you want the clock? Because, and that's when we found out the story of that was a present for my father's birth. So my brother said yes. Well, she brought it and gave it to my brother, and my brother was in the Navy at the time. I forget where he was stationed. I kind of want to say he was stationed in Rhode Island at the time. I think. Doesn't really matter. But he was a lifer in the Navy, and they had to move around a lot. So he said to me, Karen, you keep the clock until I'm settled in a place where I can, have it and hang it and not have to be moving every couple years. So I said, okay. So I had the clock. A couple years ago, I set the clock to him. And he never hung it. He never did anything with it. And then finally, about a year ago, he said to me, I'm going to send the clock back to you because you're the one who appreciates it. You're the one where it has the most sentimental value, and I want you to have it. So now it hangs with me over here in my stitching room. So that's the story of the clock. So it's an old clock. Only thing is, I don't know if it didn't get put in the package when I mailed it to him, or if he lost them before he mailed it back to me. But when it came back to me, I was missing the key and the pendulum. I was heartbroken. I was sick, absolutely sick about it. But I found a clock guy and was able to purchase a key, and it doesn't have an original pendulum in it. It has a reproduction pendulum in it. But you know what? It's okay. It's on my wall. It runs. It works. You might hear it every once in a while. Because it chimes on every quarter hour, and then it dings on every hour. It will strike the hour. So yeah, it was my favorite thing to do when I went to my grandparents' house, and she wound it every Sunday. And my favorite thing to do is when she let me wind it. I know that's silly. It's silly, but it's what I did, and I loved it, and I always loved the sound of it. I always looked forward to it chiming. And now it's just very special. So probably I don't know what's going to happen to it when I'm no longer here, because I doubt that my daughter wants it. She's not into that kind of stuff, and I don't know what will happen to it, but you know what? It's okay, because I'm not going to know the difference anyway. Yeah, it is very special. It truly is. Yeah, and I'm glad I have it, because I can at least enjoy it. And if my daughter wants to get rid of it when I'm not here anymore, that's okay. That's up to her, because like I said, I'm not going to know the difference anyway. And she's not into antique type things. And that's all right. And maybe as she gets a little older, she might be. I don't know. But I did tell her. I gave her the if you know what's good for you, because if you don't, I'm coming back to haunt you. I did tell her that my Stitcher's Retreat, she can't give that away. That she has to keep. And I think it was in the pictures in the beginning. The samplers that I had made into a quilt, I want her to keep that, and then to give it to one of the kids. Probably Imogen would appreciate it the most, because that's a girl. Abram, he might not. So, and she's only having two. They're done having kids. So, okay, what did I just do here? Oh, I'm getting myself so confused. That's nothing new. Okay, I did that. Yeah, I said those are two things that I would want them to keep. So, but then again, I'm not going to know the difference anyway. So we'll see how that goes. But that's my story of the clock. Okay. Well, how long have we been on here? About an hour and 15 minutes. So does anybody have any other questions I can answer for them? I don't see anything else here. Unless I'm missing. Sometimes this chat goes so fast that I can't keep up with everything. And then other times it kind of stalls. So we're kind of at a stall at the moment, but that's okay. But, okay, it's now 1 o'clock, so it chimed. Did you all hear it? So I guess what I'm going to do is sign off for today. And I don't know why this does this. Even though I am plugged into the power, for some reason, when I do a video, it runs my battery down. And I don't understand that. So I think what I'm going to do is call it a day. Today it's 1 o'clock here in Pennsylvania. And I haven't even eaten anything today yet. So I think I'm going to get me some lunch. Jill, no, Pattern Keeper is not available on an iPad, but that reminds me. There is Teresa Little Stitcher. Thanks for hanging out. Love you. I'm glad you were here. There is a new app called, let me look. Because I put it on here. Or did I delete it? Markup. Aha, yes, it is time for a cup of tea. It's called Markup R-XP. And that's available on Android or an iPad. It works very similar to Pattern Keeper, with the exception that it doesn't take all the pages and make one big chart. So when you use that app, all you can see is one page at a time. And you can mark off, well, obviously then you mark off one page at a time. But it also searches. You can highlight. You can mark off what you stitched. You can also, if I'm understanding correctly, I downloaded it and I really only used it once. Because if you put a long dog into it, it will show the back stitching. Where if you put a long dog in Pattern Keeper, it does not show the back stitching. You can also take a photograph, I believe, of a pattern and put it into markup, and then you get a grid that you match up with the pattern grid. And now don't quote me on this because I am not 100% sure, but I believe then you can search and mark off your stitches. So for those of you that have iOS that can't get Pattern Keeper, you might want to check out the Markup app. It's called Markup R-XP. Like I said, I downloaded it, I looked at it, I didn't play a whole lot with it because everything that I'm doing works well in Pattern Keeper except for the back stitching on the long dogs, and for that I can just use a graph, or I can just use the PDF. Yes, Diane, that's correct. The iOS also has the Silk app for Apple users. However, my understanding is the Silk app only works with patterns that you get from, I can't say it, Historic Stickmeister. It's the website run by Ute Shear and Dorothea, can't remember her last name. But if you just Google Ute, UTESCHEER, Ute Shear, it will take you to that website, and you can find the patterns that are compatible with the Silk app from there. I do know Jan Hicks has sent patterns to them to be put in that app, but I'm not sure. I don't think you can take just any PDF and put it in. It has to be something special has to be done for it to run in that app. And I believe that the charts that you buy from them will run in that, but you may not be able to put a long dog in it or a heaven and earth design in it. So, but that's another option for people to check out. So if you have an iOS, if you have an Apple product, check out the Markup app, and you can certainly check out the Silk app. So, hope that helps everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. Love you all. You are just a fabulous group of people, and with that, I'm going to say bye for now, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for stopping by. And if you're new, I hope you enjoyed and you will come back again. So have a great rest of your week and happy stitching. Bye-bye.